What's happened here? Host disabled. Hang on, I've got to get hold of somebody. There's a problem with this.
Hi, Craig.
Hey, Mark. On the Zoom meeting, who set up the meeting? Because it says your host disabled participant screen sharing. So I can't share the screen for mine. All right, okay, get it to sort that out. Thank you. Okay. I'll just have to wait a bit. There's a small problem with the screen sharing. So as soon as we get that straightened out, we can start.
Hi, Craig.
Hello?
Hi, it says host disabled participants.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that sorted out.
Oh, okay. I
didn't
just
set
didn't know
up
you were aware of
I
that.
didn't set up the Zoom meeting, so we're trying to get hold of Carol to set it up. She's
Okay.
got to enable it. This is the Western Province Zoom site. Yes, Mark.
Try it now, Craig.
Share screen. Right, okay, it's working. Okay. All righty. Okay, that's not what we want. Just hang on. Oh, let's just come up here now. Okay, can you people see the screen? Can you see the BBO screen?
Yeah. Yes.
Craig, it's fine.
Okay. All right, so there's an area in the card play where tons of mistakes are made. You know, people get given this rule, cover an honor with an honor, and that's like the end of the story. But unfortunately, it's not as simple as that. You know, you're going to make a lot of mistakes if you're just going to follow this rule religiously. And some of the advice I always give to my bridge students is that there's two words you shouldn't use at the bridge table. So if somebody says always cover an honor with an honor or never do this, they're going to be wrong a lot of the time. So you know, bridge being a mind sport, you've got to use your mind and figure out the different positions. So if you're going to be a rule follower, you're not going to get this game right. So you've got to take each problem on its own merits. And one of the things to consider is when you're deciding whether to cover, main reason why we cover is to promote lower cards, either for ourselves or for partner. So on this first example, let's say the bidding went window trump and pass. I'll just get the contract. It'll be with the transfer. And now the King of Hearts will be a popular lead. So we can do that. And we'll get the play down to and might switch to a club. And the Jack of Spades gets played. Now, you know, when you can see all four hands, a lot of these problems were easier, but many of these examples that I'm putting on the screen are taken from real life play. And, you know, being a better bridge player is not learning how to double squeeze and compound squeeze. It's just avoiding the silly stuff. And unfortunately, one of the common errors is players don't look at the dummy or think further than the current trick. And they see that Jack played and the little bell goes off, cover and honor with an honor. And you can see here, once they play the king, the hand is over. So before you know, think about your 13 cards as a little platoon of soldiers. You've got to decide when to send them into battle. And you like the commander in chief. And my advice to you, if you think a play won't help, the solution is very simple. Just don't make the play. So if we undo this and East plays low, you can see it's futile to cover because if it goes Jack, King, Ace, just think it through. The Queen 10-9 are going to eat up your 8-7-6. There's no ways covering can promote for yourself or for partner. It's as simple as that. But if you're just going to blindly follow my lead and listen to all the instructions that you're given or all the rules that can't be broken, you're going to make a lot of errors. So the next best thing to hope for is to play low, and declarers saying, hooray, I'm in luck. And next minute, he can't finesse again, and the contract will go one down in due course, as you can all see. Okay, there's no ways declarer can trump coup the hand. So those who cover, the contract succeeds. Those who don't cover, the contract fails. So you get many errors made in this game when players cover when they shouldn't. So we go into the next hand. It's a similar idea. Okay. So I'll just speed up the bidding. 4 spades by North. North will typically open 1-0 trump. I know a lot of people panic and worry about 2 unstopped suits. You have no idea what partner's got opposite those suits, so there's no point worrying. 1-0 trump just gives a general description, and guess what? If you're sitting worrying they're going to lead spades and get you 6 down, there are many times you open 1-0 trump and you don't even become declarer, you end up defending. So you might well be worrying about the wrong things. And you've got no idea where the hand is headed. There's just many different permutations of what can happen on a bridge hand. Just to give you some insights, I think I may not be 100% correct, but the number of different hands an individual player can pick up is around about 640 billion. So, you know, you're only going to play a small portion of the possible deals in a lifetime. But then, of the other 39 missing cards, you can imagine all the permutations of those 3. So it comes to a very big number. So here, again, East might lead the King of Hearts. And continue hearts. And that's the end of that. So they might attack the diamond suit. And here comes the Jack of Spades. Now this hand is very different to the previous example because we are looking at promotable cards. So those players who think, oh, I don't want to lose my king and play low, the ace queen is still going to be sitting over you later. And the net result is declarer will win 3 spade tricks, you'll get 1, and the contract will succeed. So here we cover, because we can see that if we get a 2-for-1 exchange rate, after the ace, king, jack, there's only the queen better than our 10, 9, 7. I mean, we can deal with the 8, we can cover that if necessary. So what we have to seriously think about is when we are faced with this decision, do we cover or not? The easy ones are when we can see we can provide for ourselves, like here. So that's what you've got to be looking at, not just the Jack of Spades, but what is in your hand, what is promotable. Another thing we've got to think about is what is promotable for partner. So we're going to look at some of those later as well. Next hand. Where's this one? This hand, a typical auction will be 1-0 trump by north. Most east will pass, south will transfer to hearts. And south will bid 3-no trumps to offer a choice of games, that'll be the end of the story. Right, so bridge being a very friendly game, as you can see here, we often give tricks on the lead. Can't always be helped. We don't always hit the jackpot. And here, declarers in the dummy. Now, some declarers do themselves in by taking too many finesses. So, but what often happens to save their silly play, so it goes queen, going back to this thing, and I've seen this in real life, even from so-called good players. A lot of it's just they're not thinking clearly, or they're having a bad day, and they cover, and you can see here, that gives declarer 4 hot tricks. But if you just realize it's not a law that you have to cover, and if you can see you can't make any promotion, then just don't cover. So those declarers who play like this, they will actually defeat themselves. And now they can't establish the hearts because that's going to come to a grinding halt on the second trick, and they don't have enough entries. You could play like this if dummy had an extra entry, like we move the king of clubs from the north hand to the south hand. Then you can afford to play the queen and run it just in case there's a doubleton king on your right, or you induce them to cover. You might get 5 hard tricks. But if you play against what you think is solid opposition who won't cover because it's such a strong sequence there, then the better technique is just to play low. I mean, you could lead the queen to try and induce a cover, but if you do that, then you've got to start unblocking your position like this and make sure that you clear the heart. You've got to hope there's not 5 against you, otherwise you've made a bad move by. So they can duck it, doesn't matter, you just keep playing the suit. And as you can see here, you're going to get yourself a total of 4 hard tricks and 3 diamonds, a 7, and 2 clubs, a 9. Easy contract. Those defenders that cover the first heart, declarer makes at least 10 tricks. So a lot of individual tricks, especially for you pairs players, are thrown away by not understanding the subject properly. So I'm trying to give you some more insights. This via different examples. And of course, you could fill up books, volumes of examples where you should or shouldn't cover. Okay, next example. Week 2 in spades will be a popular opening. Some West might double, some will choose to pass. North might just bid 4 spades. I think that's quite reasonable because you've got quick tricks. What preemptors want is not so much points, they want fast tricks. So yeah, you can see you might just be on a finesse. If par's got ace queen to 6 spades, you might get 6 spades and you're 2 lots of ace kings, that's 10 tricks. So there's just too many possibilities where you're going to have a play for game. So I would just bid 4 spades. Now, when your kings are with your aces, so if you had, for example, the king of clubs instead of the king of diamonds, now that's not a proven value, the king of clubs. But once the king of diamonds is with the ace, it's definitely going to take a trick. So on this hand here, queen will be led. Now, if you want to go fishing, you've got to put the right hook on the end of your fishing line. So you see, if you let a low spade, that east would never think of playing the queen. And even if you led, I know the 8's equal, often we have to learn to manage our equals. Even if you led the 8, this east will just play the 3. So the far better play to try and induce errors is to lead the jack. Okay, so if you want to tempt your opponents to cover, then you've got to put the right card on the table. And for all those disciples who say, well, cover an honor with an honor, here we go. And you can tap yourself on the back and say, look how well I played that one. You get 2 fish on 1 hook. And now we're in over trick territory. So how does East fix this problem? Oh, it's just about thinking correctly. And it's about thinking the numbers. So the first question is, can East promote for themselves? So if it goes Jack, Queen, and Ace or King, you can't beat the 10 and the 9. So that 7 is way too small to be promoted. And the next thing to think about is, how many cards does partner have? So if South's got a weak 2 promising 6 cards and North's got 3, that's 9. East has got 12. Just do the numbers. Your partner West has got a singleton. So there's no point covering because whatever partner's got is going to fall on the same trick. And I'm sure we've all seen these kind of accidents happen. It's a regular feature in the club bridge game. I've even seen 1 or 2 top players unthinkingly make this kind of mistake. It does happen. But you can see, if you're going to be a slave to covering honors with honors, this is how these silly mistakes are made, just like that. So, just like the advice, look before you leap. The bridge table, you've got to think and count and consider before you cover. I think we've done enough on that one. We can go to the next one. So this is going to be the opposite side of the coin. One hot by South. Pass will be a normal action. North will look for a spade fit. East got nothing good to say. South will offer a second trump suit. Some will be rebid 1 at trump. I don't mind that. And yeah, North will correct back to 2 hearts. They should. I know we might have, partner might have 5 diamonds, but they might also only have 4. So a lot of the time, you can have 5 hearts, 7 hearts, and also only 7 diamonds. In case the contracts make, you'd like to get a higher dividend because maybe you'll score more than minors. One other possibility is that the South hand can also have 6 hearts and 4 diamonds. You know, they might have it's one of the problems for the bidders. When do we show 6-4? Well, a lot of it's got to do with suit quality. If you've got a bad 6-card suit and a good 4-card second suit, you should usually show it. If your 6-card suit is strong and your 4-card suit is weak, that's when you don't have to bid it. So here, North should correct back to 2 hearts. Even though North bid spades, West might still try that as an opening lead. So here the facts of life are: when the Jack is led, should East cover? Well, this one, I think most people get this right, you know, even if they just rule cover an honor with an honor. There's actually times when with King Doubleton you shouldn't cover. Let's say, for example, there were 5 hearts in the dummy and you knew that South had 5 hearts. Right. Even with King Doubleton, just process the numbers. If there's 5 hearts in the dummy and 5 in the declarer hand and you've got 2, that's 12. How do you know this? Usually from the bidding. Then your partner's marked with a singleton. So even then you shouldn't cover. And you'll get a lot of declarers who when they've got a 10-card fit, they actually play for the drop. They think it's right to play for the drop, but that's not the best odds in the long run. You need 11 before you consider playing for the drop. If you lead the Jack, you've got 10, and you think you're playing against an opponent who always likes to cover. You might take the view that, well, if they didn't cover, they haven't got it. This is one of the tips that Zia gave some years ago. Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Right, so here, he must be thinking, well, partners should have 4 hearts most of the time, at least 3, possibly 4. So where partners got length, you might be able to promote. And you can see here, by covering, declarer can, hoping for the break. And now West is going to enjoy the 9 of hearts. So here our cover has paid off. We have promoted an additional trick for the defense. If we rewind, if we neglect to cover, and I'm giving a lot of you people might say, well, Craig, why are you showing me this? I know. I'm telling you now, I've seen some very experienced players make these same mistakes. Just as many people cover when they shouldn't, there's a lot of mistakes made where people should cover and they don't. And you can see the outcome of this. Now here, declarers use 1 honor. So getting 2-for-1 exchange rate, there's normally some profit somewhere down here. So here, this sequence of plays, you can see declarer is going to eat up all the hearts and get 5 heart tricks instead of 4. So next situation. What's that noise there? Okay, so let's get to a contract. Pass by north. So as far as the bidding goes, my advice is that even though North has a 4-card major, when you've got a 4-3-3-3 hand pattern, you shouldn't stamen. I mean, you can't trump anything. I know the South hand can have a doubleton, but unless you've got some fancy system to find that out, the best solution is just to bid 3-no trumps and ignore the major when you can't trump. What you don't want to do is find out that partner's got the same distribution and you're trying to make 10 tricks when you can't use your trump separately. So you may as well just try for 9. So here we go, Queen of Hearts, common lead. And we can win it. Right, so declarer gets the dummy. And the Queen of Spades is played. So again, the question is, should we cover or not cover? Well, look what happens if we do. So now Declare has eaten up the king for breakfast and say, okay, what's next on the menu? Oh yeah, the 10. So you can see with this sequence of plays, Declarer can catch the whole suit because he's covered that honor. I'm not saying don't cover the honor. A better idea so what we need to understand here is that whether we put the king on the queen or the king on the jack, the queen and jack, once they're in one hand, they're equal. But it can make a difference which one we cover. And my advice to you is that if there's two honors, two equal honors, and of course, if you've got a singleton king, you have to play it. And if you had a doubleton king, it's sometimes also correct to play it. The reason being that partner might have 4 cards in the suit and have extra length. But if you've got some flexibility where you've got 3 or 4 cards, like here, then the guideline is not cover the first one. But you can always put the king on the jack for the same material effect. What we've got to be thinking about is what are the critical missing cards? It's the ace and the 10. So if you cover and Declarer has the ace, what you've got to realize is that if Declarer's got the 10, it makes a difference what you do. But if partner's got the 10, like on this example, you've just built a whole new finesse against your partner. Okay, you can see there's the jack 9 sitting over the 10. So the better way to tackle this. Oopsie. Right, now, if the 9 is led, we don't need to cover because the 10 is still out there. So if we play low, either partner makes the 10, or if Declarer puts the ace on, then we're going to make the king. If the jack is led, now we cover. And you can see by committing the king to battle at the right time, we can promote a trick or potentially promote a trick for partner. And that's what's going to happen here. So yeah, instead of 4 spade tricks by covering the first one, Declarer only gets 3 tricks in total. So cover the second honor if there's 2 equals. So you can be a bit hasty to cover the first one because you might be building a new finesse against your partner, like on this example. The north hand might just invite, so we'll just use a natural bid to invite. And south will accept. Will be a popular lead. So what I've done with this example, instead of Queen Jack, we've now moved it down to Jack 10, but the principle is still the same. You see, if we lead the Jack and East covers, now if partner's got the Queen, the 10 is effectively sitting over partner. So by upleading again, the net result is that the defenders are only going to get one spade trick. Okay, if West takes it, they've got to find, well, it's actually too late now. Declarer's got 3 clubs and 3 spades are 6, 2 hearts is 8, and 1 diamond is 9 easy tricks because the spades break. So let's undo this one.
Craig, will be better if you ask Barbara to mute the microphone. If just Barbara mute the microphone, it will be much better, thanks.
Okay, you better.
No, you haven't
You want me
muted
to
your
mute you
microphone.
completely? Sorry. Okay.
Is that okay now? Right, so I think somebody's mics might still be on.
Yeah, it is still Barbara. You
And
must just
I've
mute
done
your
mine.
microphone.
Is it Barbara?
Yes, just mute the microphone. Barbara, can you hear me? I don't know.
Let me find her. I've got it. Is that Barbara Torre? I think I've got her number. Hang on.
Another Barbara, just leave your picture.
Hello?
Barbie,
Yeah,
is your
okay.
microphone off?
Yeah, but it's on unmute. It's on unmute. Is that correct?
Craig, I've just muted her. It's okay.
Oh,
Craig?
okay, all right, okay.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay,
Okay,
okay, thank you. Sorry.
right, so yeah, the Jack is led. There's 2 equal orders. We can see the effect. If declarer has ace queen, then we can't improve our position. But if partner's got the queen, then there will be some. So let's look at the difference. If we play low, it goes low. Queen. Let's say hearts are continued. Declare my duck. The diamond switch would give declarer some problems now. So Clover's played. Right, so we can get to so if the 5 is played, now we can use the 9, put out the ace. And with this sequence of plays, the defenders are getting the queen and a second spade trick. We'll declare tries. Hitting the 10. Even if East did not have the 9, East should still cover in case partner's got the 9. Right, so we are coming to a second spade trick. So that's what we've got to realize, is that there can be a timing issue when there's two equal honors. So usually covering the second one will be more effective than the first one. So yeah, we have a potential slam hand. North might well open two clubs. Whatever method you play, four spades should suggest some sort of minimum type of positive. The idea being that if you jump to game, you're taking away bidding space to explore the hand further. So this is one of the bidding ideas called the principle of fast arrival. So when you're in a game force, the quickest route to game is the least interest in going to higher levels. So the three spade bid would be more encouraging. But of course, you will get some players who just can't resist it, and they might well take a shot at a slam. Ten of clubs will be a popular lead. Goes low. Right, North should unblock. Okay. If you play standard leads like the 10 denies the jack, we shouldn't be thinking that North's got a singleton king, because Barter led the 10 denying the jack effectively. So you can actually play a club back, but it would be probably attractive to play a heart back. The club back actually is more effective. The reason being that it actually kills an entry to the dummy. Now, let's have a look. See, Declarer, he's got to take this diamond finesse sooner or later. So if they do it now, we cover. By covering, what we've allowed to happen here is Declarer can now work the suit. My trump hard, just in case they're worried about over trump. And now draw trumps ending up in the dummy. And on the established diamond, can throw their heart away, and then dummy usually said, but well played, partner, not realizing that maybe the defenders were a bit friendly here. So let's rewind. Right, so when the queen is led, we stick to the advice. If there's two equal honors, don't cover the first one. Okay, so we play low. We don't know what's going to happen. But look what does happen now. The declarer's finesse succeeded, but the establishment of the diamond suit is now ground to a halt. Okay. Declarer's next best chance is to hope that the spades are 2 and 2. And then play the 7 to the 10. Because if the spades did divide, then declarer could play a diamond and trump the king, and then use the 2 of spades to get back to dummy with the 6 and play the established diamond. But because the spades don't divide, now they're going to have to fall back on the heart finesse. Okay, again, lead the jack, tempt them to cover, but I guess at the end of the day, you must still take a finesse. And the slam goes 1 down. Right, and then East says to West, oh, well defended, partner. So you can see there's a major difference on the choice to cover or not cover. So when there's 2 honors, prefer to cover the second one. That's going to be right more often than wrong. One more example of this idea. What to do with the no trump hand and a 5-card major? Most of the time, opening 1-0 trump will work out okay. So East has got to pick a lead. I guess the 8 of clubs will be a popular choice. Those players who play what's called second highest, if they're touching cards, I prefer to lead the top of touching. If I had 9-7, then I would lead the 7. You don't want to lead the 9 because that might end up being a trick if declarer's got something like ace, king, queen, 8, and you've led the 9. You might be leading a card that might have beaten the 8 later on, especially if part's got something like jack 10. But if they're touching, then you can lead the 8. Partner should recognize that's not 4th highest. And there we go, jack of hearts. Now, when declarer leads honors out their hand, the hidden hand, this is a little bit more difficult because you will get some declarers who lead an unsupported queen, and you should have covered with the king because part of the jack and so on. But a lot of the time, they will have 2 consecutive honors, queen, jack, or jack 10. So the advice is the same. Don't cover the first one. Look what happens when we cover the first one. So later on in the play, Horse 10 will gobble up the 8, and declarer is going to get a total of 4 hard tricks. 1 spade is 5. 2 clubs are 7, and 1 diamond is 8. So let's do the other way. So when the jack is led, right, if partner's got the queen, they can win that trick. If declarer has got the queen, you can cover that one the next time. Okay, so there's no hurry to commit the king. So we play low, goes low. So that's one trick we've got. Okay, this hand might lead the king of spades. And yeah, you've got to get your signals right. If you play low you like and high you hate, then you better do that. At least West has indicated their partner how to defend the rest of the hand, what they would like, that they've got strong spades, come back a club. Now, if declarer leads the 10, if they've got Jack 10, 9, and you can see the intention is to take a finesse, you're going to be dead meat. So if you fall for this one, oh, I don't want to lose my king, again, declarer can make 4 hot tricks. So yeah, the right thing to do would be to cover just in case partner's got that. And yeah, now declarer only gets a total of 3 hot tricks instead of 4. Just to understand that this decision to cover does have implications on the exchange of tricks. So if you thought that you had to cover every honor that was presented in front of you at the first opportunity, hopefully by now you start to realize you may have to change your mind on some of these positions. That north hand should be opened, in my view, especially, you know, you've got a few 10s, you know, if you end up defending the hand, partner might well be influenced to lead a club because you opened a club. These days, certainly in the expert community, it's not about which 11-point hands to open, it's now which 10-point hands to open. So I agree on that style, by the way. It's you know, there's a big psychological advantage to opening the bidding. What players have to do is that if you adopt this aggressive opening style, then you've got to change the way you respond. So you have to invite more, a little bit more. Okay, so in the good old days, you could jump to game with all 12-point hands because you knew partner at 13. But when your partner's opening lots of 11 and 12-point hands, then these 12-point hands, you have to invite a whole lot more. There's got to be some compensation somewhere along the line. So what happens to the aggressive opening bidders is that the responders don't adjust their responding style. And that's why a lot of negative results are produced. But I still think even if you do that, it's a big winner to get into the bidding first. Because what happens is that it's a big psychological thing. The defenders tend to be on the back foot. Whereas if the side that opens the bidding, they seem to have a lot more confidence and a lot more entitlements and claim for the hand. So bridge being a mind sport, you definitely want to mess with your opponent's heads from that point of view. But let's look at it if it does go pass. It goes, let's say pass, pass. We get 1 at trump by West. The East hand, well, I'm going to speed it up just to get to 3 no trumps. You could just invite, but it's a nice 5-card suit. It may well give 5 tricks. And the club is led. So although we've got to learn to cover or not cover, as declarers, we've also got to try and put the right cards on the table. Now you'll see here, if we lead the 10, that will certainly induce a lot of people to cover. And that's actually, if they've got the queen, you don't want them to cover so quickly. Because look what happens now. Remember, when you're missing 4 cards, they're going to be 6 cards, sorry. They are going to be divided 4 and 2 almost half the time, like here. So we can see now that we are just going to get 3 tricks this way. And then we're going to have to fall back on the spade finesse and a break to try and make our contract. So we'll get 3 spades, but we don't get a 4th one because the suit doesn't break. So we get 3 spades, 3 dimes is 6, club is 7, and 1 heart is 8. So what I'm suggesting here, I mean, we need the diamond queen on side. Now rather lead the 9. Oops. Hang on. Not the 10. It's a weird thing. If you lead an honor, and most people consider the 10 as an honor, they're very quick to cover. But if you lead 9s and 8s, which are actually the equal, it's amazing how often they don't cover, because they've been brainwashed, only cover an honor with an honor. So here, if you can sneak the 9 past, and then follow through with the 10, it's too late for them to cover that one. Even if they don't cover, don't forget to overtake with the jack. And now you get yourself 5 diamond tricks to go with your club of 6 and your 3 other winners. So what I'm suggesting here, if you want your opponents to cover, right, then put out the most temptation in terms of an honor. If you don't want them to cover, then play the lowest of equal cards. You're far less likely to have them cover that. If we go back, even the sneaky declarer led the 9. You got to be thinking they may well have the 10. Okay, so if you play low and they run it, now you're in the finesse. Those big gaping diamond jaws are looking at you. So it might still be a good idea to even cover the 9. Because even if declarer doesn't have the 9, but partner has the 10. So if it goes 9, queen, and they win it, even if partner's 10 happens to drop on the king, well, then your 8-7 are going to get into the game and stop the flow of the suit. You can see it's quite a complex subject, this. If you thought it was as simple as cover an honor with an honor, it's not.
Into something.
Right, so a few different options for West. 1 spade is possible, 1 a trump is possible. Let's say I did go 1 spade. I've got no strong opinion either way. I would raise to 2 spades. Oopsie. Now, once West gets some support for the spade suit, it might show some renewed interest in getting to game. It might even follow through with 2 no trumps. Okay, to show a sort of strongish balanced overcall. One other possibility is to bid 3 clubs to say, listen, I'm interested in game. I need some help in clubs. And if that happens, East might well say, okay, you want some help in clubs? I've got it for you. Right, so now West is going to do the normal thing, lead partner suit. And if East just plays low, again, no need for South to play high. The missing cards are the ace and queen. Okay, partner hasn't got both of those. In fact, partner is unlikely to have any of them. What we've got to do is read the lead. So in other words, what's partner leading from? Is it a sequence? No. South owns the 9. So this has got short suit lead, look about it. So we just play low. And however well declarer plays the hand from now on, they are going to lose 2 hearts and a spade and a diamond. So even declarers have to sometimes consider when to cover. Okay, you've got to notice, you know, it's not just the other nursery rhyme, a second player plays low. No, rules are there to be broken. This is definitely the time to cover. Because the odds are, once South opens a diamond, the odds are that they've got the 9 as well. That 10 lead looks like some sort of short suit lead, because if South got 5 diamonds, that is a singleton. And if South's got 4 diamonds, then that 10 is probably a doubleton. So after this trick, so by covering, West has now built a finesse against the 9 of diamonds. And even if North had 1 more diamond, it's still 3 diamonds in the South hand versus 1 in the North hand that South has the 9 of diamonds. And if South started with 5 diamonds, then North is void. So later on at some point, we can take a finesse against the 9 of diamonds. So we've actually got to decide which black suit finesses to take. Well, we've still got to overcome that hurdle. But the main thing I want you to pay attention to is the diamond combination on this hand. That the West hand should commit the jack from the dummy to build a new finesse with the queen 8 over the potential 9. The you know, you're not always going to be playing against defenders you just unthinkingly play, third player plays high. So we've got to learn to work the cards. Now this has just been like a lamb to the slaughter. We're going to play like this. So let the 10 push out the queen, if that's what declarer's got. And at least we got the king 9 sitting over the jack. We can neutralize that later. So this is another situation that gets abused as the third player plays high without thinking or interacting with the dummy. One spade will be a popular opening. Author shots give a minimum raise, showing spade support. And guess what? The winning bid by South, 3-no trumps. Well, especially if West leads a club, then 3-no trumps will make. But I know most people are going to bid for spades. Spotter won't always have both spade honors where you can run the suit. And defenders love to lead singletons. So this is a very common situation as well on defense. You see tons of mistakes made in this area. Goes jack. And he says, cover an honor with an honor. And look what happens now. Declarer can draw trumps and makes 5 spade tricks. To go with 5 diamond tricks is 11. And sorry, is 10. The ace of hearts is 11. And when they finish with all that, they can play a club towards the king to try and make 12. So all this damage is done on trick 1. Because if we're going to play by rote, cover an honor with an honor, this is the kind of rubbish that gets played. And these are the silly mistakes. So what we got to think about is read the lead. What's going on with this lead? Is Partha leading away from the king? It's a very unusual lead to play the 10 when you've got king 10 only. So we can probably dismiss that. Highly unlikely. So it's more likely that Partha is leading either a singleton or possibly a doubleton. Now, if Partha's doubleton is the 10 and the 2, the declarer has got ace king bear. So it won't help to cover. And even if declarer Partha's leading a singleton, let's look at the effect of not covering. What you've got to understand is that if declarer has got ace king and the 2, by getting your queen out the way, you're now allowing them to run the whole suit. So if we just play low, you can see the effect of this. We've tangled up the whole suit. Declarer cannot run it anymore. So declarer can play 2 rounds. Best chance at this stage. So maybe play 2 rounds of trumps. And hope that the person with, well, they've got other chances. They've got 5 spades and 3 diamonds is 8 and the ace of hearts is 9. And they can probably say, okay, let me play a club towards the king for number 10. And see if they try the diamond that gets trumped. The main thing to take away from this hand is that East can discard the queen of clubs to say, listen, I've got the whole sequence, but I don't have the king. And now you can see that diamond suit can't be used. But those have gone into the covering sausage machine at trick 1. You just handed this on a plate. So declarer can try for the 10th trick by leading a club towards the king. And you can see what's going to happen here. 2 clubs and 2 heart losers, 1 down. So huge difference on this decision to cover or not to cover. So try and read your partner's lead and try and envision what the hidden hand has. That'll normally be the declaring hand. And if you can work out that covering won't help, don't do it. Don't be a slave to these rules. Here we go. So there'll be a popular bid. I would double with the West hand. Some Norths pass, and I prefer to let Partha know I've got some values. So I bid 1 at trump. East is definitely worth a 2 heart bid. You've been invited to compete. What South does at this point, not clear. I mean, you're opposite sort of 6 to 9. So we've got 7 tricks. Is a 1-0 trump hand going to give us 3 tricks? It's not clear. You might jump to 3 spades, you might not. Some might just bid 2. Even if you bid 3 spades, like a pass. What will North do? It might even try 3 no trumps. It's going to come down to what the lead is. Diamond lead will hurt your cause. Heart lead, you'll still be in good shape. Even if North bid 3 no trumps, it's not clear that South would leave it. So they might roll run to 4 spades. And there we go, 10 of hearts lead, let's say. If it looks like East has all the heart honors, then you can assume that the doubler probably has the king of spades. And maybe it's a bit of a waste of time. And even if you took a finesse, it would only work if East had king doubleton. You might well try the spades like this. So they shift to the diamond. Right. So now we're getting down to some more covering business. Okay, let's say goes 10. West might cover. So get back to the hand. No. So as the cards get used up, so it went 10, king, ace. You can see the jacks and the 9s and 8s are also getting into the game. So should West cover this one? So we had one decision whether to cover. I think it's quite obvious on the first one. The declarer is probably going to run the 10. So it's no good playing low. You're going to see the ace queen is still sitting over you. Look what happens if we play low on this one. And we'll come back. And another club. The proven finesse. Declare is now going to get the rest of the tricks. So if we go back. The declarer covers. You can see if they play the 9. So by covering a second time, our 5 will beat the 3. So that's one way of preventing declarer from getting all the club tricks. There's better technique for declarer, but there you have to understand squeeze play. So we're mainly concentrating on covering here, but I'm just showing you the extent to which covering can go down the ranks and where the shootout for tricks can be quite a good contest. The better technique for declarer is to, let's undo it. once it goes 8, Jack, Queen, if you notice the fall of the 7, the signs are that West has 2 more clubs. So we also know that West has got the Queen of Diamonds. So a lot of squeeze play does involve somebody protecting 2 suits. So if I'm playing the Jack of Spades, you'll see West will be squeezed out of its club or its diamond guard. So if West throws a club, then we throw the diamond, we get 2 tricks that way without all this other acrobatics we went through. And if West throws the diamond, then we throw the club and we get the 2 tricks that way. So, you know, there's lots of ways to deal with some bridge problems. But yeah, we're focusing mainly on covering. There won't always be the Jack of Diamonds for a squeeze play. So East might have the Jack of Diamonds and then West won't get squeezed. So it still comes down to West should be covering. So this hand here was actually from a Bermuda bowl that I played it many years ago, but it's a good lesson on to cover or not to cover. So here we go, let's deal with it. Yours truly was in the West seat. So North opened 1 heart. And pass. South with 3 diamonds, which is like a Bergen Ray, showing like 10 to 12 points with 4 hearts. I think I doubled. To show diamonds, and North bid 4 hearts. So even though I'd shown diamonds, East could see that was probably a waste of time to lead diamonds. That wasn't going to defeat the 4 heart contract. So tried the club, and Declarer played the 8. And I now had to decide, should I cover or not cover? And actually at the time, I was saying to myself, well, what are the facts here? Now, I didn't know what was necessarily going to be the outcome of this hand at this point. There were too many unknowns. But what I did know is that well, let's think about it. What is partner leading the 7 from? From Ace 7, from King 7. We don't lead the middle card from King 7, 6, so it couldn't be that. The evidence strongly suggests it was either a singleton or a doubleton. So just go through the possibilities. If it's from 7, 6 doubleton, Declarer's got Ace, King, Bear. So there's no need to cover. Declarer's going to play them anyway. Let's say I do cover. Is this going to help? Because what you must realize that, you know, when you're playing at these high levels, the declarers also can read the leads. They know that the 7, you know, the 10, 9, 8's in the dummy, they also know it's singleton or doubleton. So I'm going to be finessed later anyway. So even though I've got 2 honors, I can play Jack. I know declare after they've drawn trumps can take another finesse and catch my queen anyway. So I just said to myself, well, do what I tell all my students. If covering won't help, just don't do it. So when I played low, first of all, I'm going to find out whether the declarer's got ace, king, bear, because if they play one of them, that's the case, and now it went low. Now I knew for sure that part had led a singleton. And here's the weird thing, is that, you see, if I'd covered, declarer would have been in their hand to take the Hertford ace. And even if they played low to the jack and cashed the ace, they would have only lost one heart trick. So declarer suddenly realized what the problem was. Okay, that the lead was probably a singleton. Now they couldn't get to their hand, you see. If they tried a low diamond, I wasn't going to let that sneak past me, because I knew for sure what they had a singleton. So I'd play back. Now I can play back a high club. It should be a request for a spade. And Potter plays a spade back. Then you can see another club. And that's one down. But if I'd covered, right, they might have even led the Queen of Hearts, who knows? In fact, they probably should. So now they're in their hand to make the play. Whether Potter covers or not, they probably shouldn't. Again, your opponents are playing 5-card majors. There's 4 in the dummy, that's 9. You've got 3 as 12. You shouldn't cover. Let declarer worry about what to do. Okay. If they take it the finesse, as you can see, the contract will make with over tricks. Declarers knows I've got the club. They can play club to their 6 later on and just lose 1 spade and 1 diamond. I think at the table, see, beware of Greek gifts. After declarer won the 8 in his hand, he suddenly realized that he was in danger of a club ruff, and you now played ace of hearts. He's trying to clear the trumps as quickly as possible. So my partner got me in. And he got the heart ruff, club ruff, sorry. And we came to a spade trick as well for 1 down. So it had a happy ending, but as you can see, I just said to myself, well, covering's not going to help, so I don't do it. And suddenly good things happen. So that's kind of the lesson. I hope you can get something from this. And I've got more hands if you want, but I've probably exhausted most of you by now. Are there any questions?
Thanks, Craig. That was great.
All right, so hopefully you've got some more insights and more thought. We'll go into this, when to cover and when not to. It's not as simple as many people make out. All right. Okay, thanks all.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon, everyone. Bye.
Many thanks,
Okay.
Craig. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thanks for attending.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Sorry, my other soul. It's very hot outside, boy. First minute, boy. For half an hour before I get some. Yeah, boy. Just getting started. Come on.
Thursday on ID.
My name is Anthony
Come on, darling.
I'm a writer. I believe stories can inspire change for a family. These are your great grandparents spending their